Darius Brad. Y'all know Darius McCrary. Y'all remember him, honey, from Family Matters?
Yep.
Well, baby, he is speaking out and he is talking, y'all. He's giving details of what really goes on in Hollywood, honey. Now,
Darius McCrary, best known as Eddie Winslow from the iconic 90s show Family Matters, recently opened up about a serious issue plaguing Hollywood: inappropriate touching. In a candid interview, McCrary highlighted the prevalence of this problem, echoing sentiments expressed by comedian Cat Williams.
everyone, honey, everyone, including men, have been inappropriately touched in Hollywood, he said. They said, Mr. Eddie explained that. He said, I said this before, we've all been inappropriately touched, honey, in Hollywood. He said, it's just what it is. We have been inappropriate.
According to McCrary, high-level executives in the industry often groom male talents, subjecting them to compromising situations in the pursuit of career advancement. He emphasized that this issue isn't exclusive to women, stating, "We've all been inappropriately touched in Hollywood. It's just what it is. We have all been inappropriately touched in Hollywood, whether the audience realizes it or not."
I feel like when I said that statement, I was defending a very good friend of mine who was under some serious fire and some allegations. And
who was that? Who were you defending at the time?
I'd rather not.
Sharing a personal experience, McCrary revealed, "I was inappropriately touched by a Hollywood executive, and I'm not going to tell on nobody. This happened when I was a young man. I'm not going to say, but that's what it is. See, I'm not thirsty, so I ain't got to tell my business because I'm not thirsty."
And I knew some bodies were buried, and I wasn't going to speak on it. And all I was saying is we've all, if you're in this business, we've all at some point been inappropriately touched.
Beyond his acting career, Darius McCrary is a versatile American talent, excelling as a rapper, singer, and producer. His claim to fame was portraying Edward Eddie Winslow, the eldest child of Carl and Harriet Winslow, in the ABC-CBS television sitcom Family Matters, which aired from 1989 to 1998. McCrary made his film debut as Scam in the 1987 comedy film Big Shots, and also lent his voice to the character Jazz in Transformers, 2007.
Even if it's a hug, even if it's a back rub, I don't know what you're thinking when you're rubbing my back. You could be hugging my back and be like...
Life after Family Matters hasn't been without challenges for McCrary, and his recent revelation sheds light on the darker aspects of the entertainment industry.
In retrospect, I do remember a situation where I was touched a certain way. Being too young to decipher, I didn't pay it any attention. Years later...
Back in 2017, actor Darius McCrary, widely recognized for his portrayal of Eddie Winslow in the 90s sitcom Family Matters, revealed that he experienced being inappropriately touched by an unnamed Hollywood executive when he was a young man. While chatting with a TMZ reporter in Beverly Hills on a Thursday night, McCrary didn't delve into the details, but did share his perspective on the recent sexual assault allegations against his friend Charlie Sheen. Outside the Montage Hotel, McCrary expressed, "All I can say is Charlie is one of the most magnificent and kind people that God ever created, and I can't see Charlie Sheen doing anything inappropriate." This was in response to recent claims suggesting that Sheen, at the age of 19, had sexually assaulted the late Corey Haim when he was 13. Haim's mother refuted the allegations, asserting that her son was abused by someone else, not Sheen. McCrary added a touch of humor, saying, "People who are thirsty are always looking for a good drink, and from what I know, Charlie Sheen will quench your thirst. Drink that." Despite the serious nature of the allegations, McCrary confidently stated that he wouldn't be concerned about them. However, he introduced a personal note into the conversation, sharing, "But I will say this, though. I was inappropriately touched by a Hollywood executive, and I'm not gonna tell on nobody. This happened when I was a young man." When pressed for more details, McCrary declined, emphasizing, "I'm not thirsty, so I ain't gotta tell my business." Recently, there's been news about Darius McCrary, the Family Matters star, facing legal trouble for alleged failure to pay child support. According to TMZ, this is the second time he's been arrested over this issue. McCrary and his ex-wife Tammy Bronner finalized their divorce in 2019, 4 years after his initial arrest for the same reason. Under the divorce agreement, McCrary is obligated to pay $1,366 per month, and he already owed a significant amount when the agreement was signed. He was taken into custody on November 27th and entered a not guilty plea. Despite these legal issues, McCrary has brought attention to an important and long-standing topic: Hollywood's problematic fascination with pedophilia. This disturbing trend traces its roots back to Vladimir Nabokov's classic novel, Lolita, published in 1955, where a 36-year-old man becomes infatuated with a 12-year-old girl. The book, and its various film adaptations, have contributed to the normalization of pedophilia in modern films, often portraying it as an ultimate fantasy rather than a heinous crime. Lolita presents a warped perspective, narrated by the adult character's point of view with little consideration for the young girl's feelings. The grooming process is depicted as a supposed loving relationship, concealing the exploitation involved. Unfortunately, this distorted portrayal has gained traction on platforms like TikTok, where hashtags like #coquette, #doll, #innocence, and #Lolita aesthetic are used in videos that go viral. The term coquette has evolved to signify innocence and youth, linking childishness to a modern woman's perceived attractiveness. While these TikTok trends may seem harmless on the surface, romanticizing a story about child abuse is both insensitive and ignorant toward real-life victims. Young girls, influenced by Hollywood and social media, often view these narratives through a curated lens. The trend extends beyond fictional stories. The rise of DILFism, or the attraction to older men, is evident in the shift from teenage boy bands to mature male celebrities gaining millions of young admirers on social media. Public figures like Pedro Pascal, Brad Pitt, and Cillian Murphy, all over 45, have become the new it men. However, this phenomenon raises questions about whether society is inadvertently promoting unhealthy relationships and if the movie industry is exploiting it for marketing or even directors' personal fetishes. Movies like Call Me by Your Name and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood portray age gap relationships as if they are normal and romantic, downplaying the potential harm involved. Even real-life figures like Leonardo DiCaprio, with alleged dating preferences favoring those under 25, contribute to Hollywood's problematic narrative around relationships. These movies and social media posts convey to younger audiences that age gap relationships aren't about exploitation but care. The casting of conventionally attractive older men in these roles further blurs the lines between right and wrong. Summit Jr. Abby Bloomer highlights the impact on young audiences, noting that movies often cast good-looking individuals as the older character, creating a perception that masks the inherent issues. Let's dive into a rather intriguing and somewhat unsettling connection that echoes aspects of the Dark Ages. Back then, the world grappled with plagues, rampant fanaticism, and disturbing accusations, such as the belief that Jews were secretly consuming the blood of children. Fast forward to 2020, and we find ourselves in the midst of a global pandemic, besieged by both a viral outbreak and a surge in questionable information about a bizarre practice. This contemporary tale involves a persistent rumor that global elites are engaging in the torture of children to harvest a chemical called adrenochrome from their blood. Allegedly, this substance is then injected to maintain the health and youthfulness of these elites. Quite the wild narrative, right? This peculiar story has become a favorite topic among interconnected conspiracy communities like QAnon and Pizzagate. Surprisingly, the concept of adrenochrome harvesting predates these groups, but has experienced a revival during the COVID-19 pandemic. A glance at Google Trends reveals significant spikes in searches for adrenochrome in March and June of 2020. Unsurprisingly, it has found a cozy home on popular platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. However, Reddit took a step back by removing a dedicated adrenochrome subreddit on July 30th. Now let's talk about hidden virality. Coined by researchers Britt Paris and Joan Donovan, this term refers to content that dominates specific corners of the internet, often escaping the notice of journalists and mass audiences. It's the kind of stuff that social media platforms struggle to identify and address. The adrenochrome harvesting conspiracy theory embodies this concept. even though platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok have recently made efforts to crack down on groups like QAnon. Discussions about adrenochrome harvesting persist in certain online communities. Adrenochrome harvesting is a peculiar concept that doesn't outright blame Jews, but points fingers at satanic and globalist elites, serving as dog whistle terms for the far right. It's a modern obsession that bears the imprint of blood libel, an anti-Semitic myth rooted in medieval Europe, and has mutated into a form of medical misinformation. Now, to understand this conspiracy, we need to explore the intriguing origins of adrenochrome. It's a compound naturally occurring in the body, but scientific research on it has been relatively limited. Back in the mid-20th century, a handful of studies examined its potential role in schizophrenia, capturing the attention of writers like Aldous Huxley and Hunter S. Thompson. To them, adrenochrome became a fascinating psychotropic substance, akin to mescaline. Huxley, in his notable work, Doors of Perception, hinted at it as a clue being systematically pursued, though biologists didn't find much of interest. Fast forward nearly 20 years, and Thompson, in his novel Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, portrayed adrenochrome as a psychedelic substance violently extracted from human glands. This vivid depiction was immortalized in Terry Gilliam's 1998 film, featuring a memorable scene with Johnny Depp's character taking adrenochrome. The clip on YouTube has amassed over 1.7 million views, accompanied by thousands of comments referencing the conspiracy. Interestingly, the roots of adrenochrome harvesting conspiracy theories can be traced back to 4chan's /x/ and /Paul/ boards in 2013 and 2014. In a disturbing twist, an anonymous poster in an anti-Semitic /Paul/ thread shared a restricted, unsearchable video titled "Jew Ritual Blood Libel Sacrifice is #adrenochrome Harvesting." These online communities later played a role in the formalization and growth of Pizzagate around 2015-2016, before the conspiracy spread to more mainstream social media platforms. Back in 2016, a video linking adrenochrome to Marina Abramovich's spirit cooking ceremonies circulated in a Pizzagate thread. The following month saw a surge in increasingly outlandish claims, including a peculiar notion that the Pixar film Monsters, Inc. held cryptic references to adrenochrome harvesting. As Pizzagate enthusiasts transitioned into the emerging QAnon community in 2017, they brought the adrenochrome conspiracy along for the ride. The conspiracy gained traction in 2018, with new investigations and a rumor circulating about a hoax website supposedly selling adrenochrome for cryptocurrency. Filmmaker Jay Myers added fuel to the fire with his video, Adrenochrome, the Elite's Secret Superdrug. While the original video was taken down, it persists on his backup channel and has been re-uploaded elsewhere online. Fast forward to February 2019, and InfoWars featured a segment linking adrenochrome to the Clinton Foundation through EpiPen manufacturers and the controversial young blood transfusion startup Ambrosia. Soon after, adrenochrome documentaries popped up on YouTube, spawning numerous copycat productions and contributing to the foundation of the conspiracy as we know it today. The conspiracy's recent surge in interest can be traced back to March 2020 and the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. As celebrities shared photos of themselves at home, looking less than camera-ready, they became targets of accusations on social media, suggesting they were suffering from adrenochrome withdrawal due to disruptions in the alleged child trafficking supply chain caused by lockdowns. Believers commented on these posts, spreading the adrenochrome hashtag and harassing their targets. Despite increased visibility, conspiracy outlets claimed that major social media platforms and media were plotting to suppress the truth about adrenochrome. The conversation intensified on social media, ranging from claims about Lady Gaga participating in blood rituals for an adrenochrome fix to the COVID-19 spiked adrenochrome theory popularized by Pizzagate supporter Liz Crokin. Despite allegations of censorship, Google Trend results indicated that flooding celebrities' pages with adrenochrome mentions was working, leading to a spike in search traffic and social media conversation. This high-flying American hedge fund manager grabbed headlines for weeks. implicating powerful names like former U.S. Presidents Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, as well as Prince Andrew. His story took a dark turn when he died in a New York prison in August 2019. Epstein, already a convicted pedophile who had served a 13-month prison sentence 11 years prior, faced fresh legal trouble when he was arrested a month before his death. This time, the charges involved the suspected sex trafficking of dozens of minors in New York and Florida. Even in death, Epstein remains a controversial figure. Currently, the world is closely examining hundreds of pages of unsealed court documents for information about associates, more details on known cases, and insights into his network of seemingly influential individuals cultivated with the help of his entourage. So who was Jeffrey Epstein? Born in 1953 on Coney Island in New York, Epstein was described as poor, smart, and desperate to be rich by the Miami Herald. Despite not earning a degree, he showcased a talent for mathematics, skipping 2 grades in high school and later teaching calculus and physics at an Ivy League preparatory college. Eventually, he became a successful options trader and a top fund manager for the wealthy, counting Leslie Wexner, the owner of Victoria's Secret, among his clients. Epstein's wealth was impressive, officially valued at over $500 million, including cash, investments, and properties like a New Mexico ranch, a Florida villa, a Paris apartment, 2 Virgin Island islands, and a New York mansion. He extended his influence into philanthropy, donating substantial amounts to research institutions, schools, and sports programs, some involving children. One notable act of philanthropy was a $6.5 million gift to Harvard University for research into the mathematical principles guiding evolution. Beyond his financial ventures, Epstein held peculiar interests in eugenics and cryonics. Reports surfaced suggesting he aimed to seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating women at his vast New Mexico ranch. He hosted dinner parties and science salons with prominent scientists. Let's break down the events surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's arrest in July 2019, shedding light on the charges and the disturbing details that unfolded. Epstein faced federal sex trafficking and conspiracy charges linked to the sexual abuse of numerous girls at his residences in Florida and New York between 2002 and 2005. His legal team argued that these charges mirrored ones from 2008 in Florida, which led to a controversial plea deal. However, it was an investigation by the Miami Herald in 2018 into that secretive deal that sparked the new inquiry in New York. During the investigation, prosecutors interviewed new victims, conducted property searches, and discovered explicit images of nude, underage girls. According to court documents, prosecutors outlined how Epstein enticed and recruited minor girls to visit his homes, engaging in sex acts with him and then giving them hundreds of dollars in cash. To maintain a steady supply of victims, he allegedly paid certain victims to recruit additional girls for abuse. The joint FBI-NYPD Crimes Against Children Task Force arrested him at a New Jersey airport upon his return from Paris on his private plane. Epstein pleaded not guilty to the charges. Now let's discuss the victims. The Florida case involved up to 40 underage girls, but reports following the new investigation suggested the number of potential victims could be around 80. Many of these young and vulnerable individuals, some runaways in search of work, were recruited with promises of networking and modeling jobs by Epstein's staff. They claimed to be employed for massages and attendance at exclusive parties, where abuse occurred. Some victims alleged that Epstein even lent them to his friends for sexual acts. Among the victims, makeup artist Jennifer Arias came forward, stating that Epstein raped her in New York when she was just 15. Her lawyer emphasized her vulnerable background, saying she was a child on welfare with no father, groomed and preyed upon. One notable victim is Virginia Giuffre, now residing in Queensland, Australia. Regarding Donald Trump's connection, an alleged victim, Katie Johnson, filed lawsuits in 2016, claiming she was instructed to perform sexual acts on Trump during Epstein's orgy parties when she was 13. Trump had once praised Epstein as a terrific guy, but later distanced himself, stating they were no longer friends, and he had barred Epstein from his Florida resort a decade ago due to a disagreement, likely related to Epstein hiring a young Mar-a-Lago staffer as a masseuse. Now, when it comes to Bill Clinton, his name appeared numerous times on the flight manifests of Epstein's plane, famously known as the Lolita Express. According to flight logs obtained by Fox News, Clinton took at least 26 trips on the Boeing 727 between 2001 and 2003. However, Clinton's spokesperson, Angel Urena, countered this, stating that the former president took only 4 trips on the plane. Urena clarified that these trips were connected to the work of the Clinton Foundation, with staff and Secret Service accompanying him on every leg of every journey. Across the pond in Britain, the Epstein scandal cast a shadow over Prince Andrew. Photos emerged from a 2001 party where he was seen socializing with women on Epstein's yacht in Phuket. Another image captured him alongside Virginia Roberts Giuffre, then 17, at Epstein's former personal assistant Ghislaine Maxwell's London flat. Giuffre, who now resides in Australia, claimed she was recruited by Maxwell to work as a masseuse after running away to become a model. She alleges she was a sex slave to Epstein and was lent to Prince Andrew and others. Prince Andrew in Buckingham Palace denied any involvement with Giuffre, and he even gave an interview to the BBC to address the allegations. However, the interview had unintended consequences and didn't achieve the desired public relations effect. Subsequently, in 2022, Prince Andrew settled a civil case with Giuffre, paying her millions to resolve the matter. Giuffre had sued him for unspecified damages, alleging she was forced to have sex with him on 3 separate occasions in 2001 when she was 17. The majority of the £9.9 million, $17.6 million settlement went to Giuffre, with around $3 million donated to her sex trafficking charity, as reported by the London Telegraph. So, what unfolded in the aftermath of the Jeffrey Epstein saga? Well, there hasn't been a definitive end yet. Epstein, facing up to 45 years in prison if convicted on sex trafficking charges, was being held at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York when more accusations emerged. His trial was tentatively set for mid-2020. However, on August 10, 2019, things took a shocking turn. Epstein, who had been taken off suicide watch, was found in his cell experiencing a cardiac arrest. Rushed to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. This event left then U.S. Attorney General William Barr appalled, and Senator Ben Sasse called for accountability. The New York City chief medical examiner determined Epstein's cause of death as hanging, declaring it a suicide. Yet, conspiracy theories continued to circulate. A forensic pathologist hired by Epstein's brother contested the findings, suggesting strangulation and urging further investigation. Fast forward to 2023, a Justice Department probe placed negligence at the forefront, concluding that it significantly hindered the victim's quest for justice. In 2020, the FBI arrested Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's associate, at a secluded property in New Hampshire. Charged with luring underage girls for Epstein's abuse, Maxwell was convicted of federal sex trafficking charges and received a 20-year prison sentence in June 2022. She is currently held in a federal prison in Tallahassee, Florida. Turning the page to January 4, 2024, a significant development occurred. Thousands of previously confidential documents related to Epstein were unsealed in New York, following a prolonged legal battle. These documents, part of a 2015 lawsuit against Maxwell, include emails, transcripts of depositions, and legal filings, revealing a wealth of information about the intricate web surrounding Epstein and his associates. And Darius McCrary isn't the only one that has spoken up about this. On October 10, 2017, Terry Crews made a surprising move that caught everyone off guard, including his wife. He opened up about an alleged incident of being groped by a powerful Hollywood executive. The catalyst for this revelation was his frustration with the skeptical response some men had towards women sharing their stories of sexual abuse in Hollywood, a trend sparked by the initial report on Harvey Weinstein by the New York Times. Feeling compelled to set the record straight, Crews took to Twitter stating, "This whole thing with Harvey Weinstein is giving me PTSD. Why? Because this kind of thing happened to me." His decision to share his own experience stemmed from his disbelief at the way some men were dismissing the women's accounts, suggesting they were seeking fame rather than justice. In his account, Cruz described a Hollywood party where a powerful agency executive, later identified as Adam Vennet from William Morris Endeavor, groped him and laughed off his objections. While Cruz received immediate gratitude and support, he also faced skepticism, especially from other men who doubted that someone like him, given his size and physique, could be a victim of sexual abuse. The way I like to describe this whole issue is, "You are now behind enemy lines once you come forward," the Brooklyn Nine-Nine star said. "Instead of a person who needs help, you are a problem that needs to be eradicated. That's immediate, because there's a whole system in place, and you're about to upset the whole thing." In an era dominated by the #Me Too movement, stories of sexual abuse in Hollywood have predominantly been shared by women. However, male voices, including Cruz, Anthony Rapp, James Van Der Beek, Brendan Fraser, Alex Winter, Michael Gaston, and others who spoke out about photographers Bruce Weber and Mario Testino, have faced a distinct set of challenges, from the belief that men groping other men is mere horseplay to an increased stigma, making it harder for male accusers to identify themselves as survivors. These challenges highlight the unique struggles faced by men in processing emotions stemming from trauma. 1 year into the viral #Me Too movement, male survivors were beginning to find a sense of community and support, with Terry Cruz's experience serving as a notable example. In November of the previous year, after learning that Adam Vennet would return to work following a short suspension, Cruz filed a civil case against Vennet and WME, which was settled last month. The case was dismissed with the condition that Vennet resign, prohibiting any return to the company, and that WME revises its employee conduct policy to effectively address sexual assault and battery by WME employees against clients. Cruz emphasized that his pursuit was not primarily about money, but about ensuring Vennet's departure, stating, "I was ready to spend $1 million to win $1. This is not about money at all, but the fact is that I wanted Vennet to be gone." The actor highlighted the accountability of those in higher positions and noted the complex dynamics male accusers face in light of pre-existing notions about masculinity and sexual politics. While some believed Cruz's claims quicker due to his gender, skeptics dismissed Vennet's actions or faulted Cruz for interpreting intentions. Cruz faced questions like why he didn't physically retaliate, overlooking potential consequences for such actions. For many male survivors of sexual abuse, the challenge persists in the fundamental issue of recognition. Michael Gaston, inspired by Cruz's tweets, shared his own story a day later, recounting an incident where he was assaulted in a professional setting. Gaston emphasized the lack of awareness about male survivors, shedding light on the continued need for a shift in the conversation surrounding male accusers. 25 years passed before Gaston felt prepared to share his experience publicly. During that time, he confided in only one close male friend. Reflecting on those days, Gaston acknowledged the lack of emotional sophistication, with an attitude of putting one's head down, getting through work, leaving New Haven, and moving on with life. While the memory of being groped dimmed over the years, Gaston grappled with lingering emotions he couldn't entirely comprehend. Learning about similar experiences from two others he knew brought shared feelings of anger among them. The effect was profound, impacting their lives in various ways. As Gaston recounted his story on Twitter last fall, the emotions rushed back, despite the passage of 25 years. Sharing one's traumatic experience is a challenging process, laden with anxiety and emotion. However, it can also be a healing journey for both male and female survivors. Alex Winter likened speaking publicly to shedding shackles, emphasizing the transformative power of the #Me Too movement. Winter, inspired by stories from fellow actors, disclosed his own account of childhood sexual abuse in October 2017, not naming the perpetrator who he mentioned had passed away. Winter had previously shared bits of his experience through humor or earnestness, but he realized the limitations of this approach. In his 30s, therapy became a space for him to openly discuss the abuse. The #Me Too movement empowered him to break free from the isolation survivors often feel, challenging the notion that they should keep their stories private. Winter expressed his unequivocally positive view of the #Me Too movement, feeling supported as he stepped forward into a community of individuals with shared experiences. As the movement evolves, it has prompted nuanced conversations, including recent allegations involving actor Jimmy Bennett and Asia Argento. Winter acknowledged the complexities that arise when accusers themselves may face scrutiny. He emphasized that understanding the systemic nature of abuse requires acknowledging its occurrence across various individuals, even those disliked or accused themselves. In 2016, before taking on the iconic role of Frodo Baggins in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Elijah Wood, once a child actor, spoke out about the darker side of Hollywood in a candid interview with the Sunday Times. The actor raised concerns about a pedophilia problem within the industry, suggesting that some individuals with harmful intentions were preying on children in show business. Expressing his distress about the situation, Wood stated, "Clearly something major was going on in Hollywood. It was all organized. There are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interests in mind. There is darkness in the underbelly." He emphasized the difficulty victims face in speaking out, saying, "What bums me about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power. That's the tragedy of attempting to reveal what is happening to innocent people. They can be squashed, but their lives have been irreparably damaged." Reflecting on the vulnerability of innocent individuals in the industry, Wood remarked, "If you're innocent, you have very little knowledge of the world and you want to succeed. People with parasitic interest will see you as their prey. What upsets me about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power." Wood, who starred alongside Macaulay Culkin in The Good Son as a child and appeared in a Flipper remake, credited his mother, Deborah, for protecting him from the dangers of Hollywood during his early years. However, he acknowledged being led down dark paths later in life, suggesting that such issues may still persist. While Wood did not provide specific details or name individuals, projects, or time periods in the interview, his comments align with a broader conversation around the challenges and misconduct within the entertainment industry. His remarks coincided with the resurfacing of allegations against Woody Allen in 2016, contributing to a larger dialogue on accountability and the treatment of victims in Hollywood. That'll do it for this video, folks. Thanks for watching.